Good evening, everybody. Thank you for watching this video. And for this video, I'm going to get into the Latino community. What we're going to get into with it. So for advocacy groups, I live in a very conservative rural area. And for the Latino community, there wasn't a ton of directly focused advocacy groups. So I kind of curved it a little bit, and I decided to use a group called PFLAG, which is a group that advocacy for the LGBTQ community, but that includes members from the Latino and Hispanic population. And so I interviewed Whitney Malk, who is a member out here in the county. And with PFLAG, their mission is to build a foundation of loving families united with the LGBTQ plus people, allies who support one another, to educate ourselves, our community, to speak up as advocates until all hearts, minds respect, value, and affirm the LGBTQ community. This is focused on the Latino community. So I kind of asked her, the purpose of the agency, obviously, is to bring self-awareness out in this area that just because someone has a same-sex relationship doesn't mean they have some sort of disease. They're humans too, and they should not be discriminated against for their choice of lifestyle. And one thing she mentioned to me is with the population as a whole out in this area, it's very Caucasian and conservative. So they're kind of, the practice of same-sex couples are kind of looked upon and frowned upon, and people give them bad looks. Well, with the Latino population, with it being primarily Catholic and religious and spiritual, they are extra frowned upon and sometimes completely disowned by their families. And so trying to give those individuals a home and a family and understand that they're not alone is what she stated was kind of a purpose for them. What services they identify that they provide. So they provide different resources throughout the county. They do different missions at the group, at the local park, trying to let people know that, hey, this is a safe place for you to come, communicate, socialize, help each other out, and try to be that positive light in an area that doesn't have a lot. They offer support and counseling, medical resources, hotlines for mental health, suicide prevention. I found it really interesting. She talked about going to the parade, the local parade, and some sneer, some side remarks, but most people were very interactive and accepting. As a whole, didn't make them feel shunned while they were going through the parade as one of the floats or entries. And she said that she felt that was a positive feedback for the group as a whole. And the members that went and marched down the street with thousands of people there, she indicated really seemed to enjoy it. She is in law enforcement, and so some of the backlash, and she's a supervisor now, so some of the backlash that she has received because of her choice in social life, she's indicated has been a challenge for her personally, and that's kind of how she got involved with the group. So some of the greatest needs, it all comes down to education, for the LGBTQ community. And out here, people just don't understand what they don't know. And, this is an older population out here, unfortunately. And a lot of times they complain about problems. And then when solutions are presented, they buck at the solution or the choice. And so that's a big issue for out here. They're just not willing to accept change. And, oh, that's not right. Come on. they go to church, but yet they're judging people. The rubber's got to meet the road somewhere. What is the importance of social justice within this community? I mean, a lot of times, and she told me a lot of times the issues amongst the group members is just that feelingness of alone, not being accepted by family or friends, or slurs or nasty remarks or nasty looks they get because of the way they may dress, or because they're holding hands, or confidence is a big issue. And just trying to build that up, let them know that they're not alone. And I can say personally, this is kind of why I went with this group as well. So last year I was fortunate enough to be an officiant for multiple weddings. And I had an individual, a couple from a same-sex relationship, come to me and want me to perform their marriage in secret, because they were so afraid of what the community and how they would be ostracized, and trying to find a venue, etc. So it was a very small service at their house, and it pained me and hurt me that they felt like they couldn't celebrate something that made them very happy, and someone that they love each other, because of how they were going to be treated by people in the community. And so that's what PFLAG is trying to reduce. And so that directly affects the Latino community in this area in that regard as well. So that's the organization I went with. Again, I know it wasn't directly with the Latino community, but they do advocate for individuals from that community. They advocate for individuals from all the communities, trying to bring social justice, fairness, educate the Latino community in this area that it's okay. It's going to be hard to get through those spiritual and religious barriers within that community. But so there's that with the group. Next, we did the individual interview, and this was very fun for me. We had an individual named Edgar Messina, a young man who I met once when I was an SRO, and he became a police officer. And I don't know him well because I was transitioning out of law enforcement into counseling and youth mentoring, and he's just now transitioning in. So it was a very fun interview. We got to sit down and share a meal together. I got to enjoy very authentic food. And so we'll get right into it. So some of the background. Edgar Messina is a young man who parents are from the Dominican Republic. Moved to Puerto Rico, where he was born. His mother moved there when he was about 6 months, or in her belly, she was about 6 months pregnant. Born in Puerto Rico, and then when he was about 3, they moved to the Bronx, and then 6, they moved to Miami. And then from there, he came to Shenandoah County, Virginia, where he, about approximately 8th grade, where he has now lived ever since. And it was very interesting talking to him about his travels. Father was kind of successful in the Dominican. Mother believed that they could have more opportunities coming to America. So they went to Puerto Rico. Because he was born there, he got a citizenship. And then her grandmother was able to get her green card, and that's why they went to the Bronx. But one of the reasons why they didn't want to stay in Puerto Rico is the only job that his father could get was construction. And she could get no jobs. It was not worth the money at the time away from the family. So that was the ultimate reason why they made the choice when he was about 3 to leave Puerto Rico and go to the Bronx, because her mother was already there, and she wanted a better life for them. So they come, and that's where they stayed. So what are some key culture events? One of the first things he said when he got here in 8th grade, he had never really seen racism. In the Bronx, he didn't see it. Very diverse community. Miami, very highly Hispanic populated, never really saw racism. But when he got to out where we are, which is a very, again, conservative white community, he said, I got here, I was playing basketball, and I just remember playing and the kid getting upset with me, cursing me, telling me I needed to just go back to my country and get out of here. And he said that was the first time he really felt racism out here, and that really defined him. I mean, this is a 23-year-old young man who now has a new baby, and that stuck with him. But he said ultimately, since he's been here, it's been way more positive than negative, much more positive experiences. He has now become a law enforcement officer out here. So being a minority law enforcement officer in a primarily white community, I asked, has he felt any racial tension in that regard? And he stated no. Most everybody respects the uniform, but he did tell a story about a lady who, very stereotypical, was saying that an area that was Hispanic primarily was just having drug parties all the time, which they're not. But that's just her stereotype. And very polite with him. But he saw her the next day, and he wasn't in uniform, and he waved at her, and she just rolled his eyes at him and kind of smeared him off like he was one of those members from the drug popping community. But because he wasn't wearing his uniform, she didn't realize it was the same person. So he said, it was kind of weird. He said, I think more people respect me because of my uniform, and they don't really disrespect me, which is a good thing, I guess. But we need to keep educating and culturing people. Some people are just hard to fix. I found this interesting. So when I was doing my research paper, I learned about Three Kings Day, and that's a big event in Puerto Rico. They celebrate on January 6th. Because his parents are Dominican, even though he's Puerto Rican, he kind of goes with the Dominican cultures, etc. And he talked about how they do Three Kings Day on February 27th. But it's a very big holiday. It's kind of like another Christmas. And that's to celebrate the three wise men coming to visiting Jesus and bringing him gifts. I asked about his family's religion. They're Catholic. Out here, though, they don't go to church because they have not found a church they felt accepted at. But they're very spiritual. They're very much in tune with the Bible and try to live their life in a spiritual way. That's how he was raised. That's how they instilled with the family. And so it was fun. So we're there and having a meal. And I got to eat fried plantains for the first time. They were very good. He told me that's kind of like a potato, like a French fry for them. Mom fried up for us, and it was very, very good. I can say that. No objections. I was fortunate enough, though, so I was doing my cultural paper. I was able to go to Quinceanera, and to see that event and its extravagance was phenomenal. But I asked him if that was something that they celebrated, and he said it can be. He said it's more of a middle countries, Mexican, Ecuador, Salvadorian kind of tradition, but Puerto Ricans will celebrate it, sometimes Dominican, but it's more the Latinos from the Central America. But my experience was phenomenal. The band, the music, the food, the amount of people that showed up from all over the country. You saw license plates from Texas, California, New York, everywhere. I mean, 500-600 people for this 15-year-old young lady's birthday party. It was quite an experience. The band was amazing. The people all very friendly. Now it sort of get really rowdy as the alcohol kept flowing and the party kept going. But it was an awesome experience for me personally. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And but that's something that they do not celebrate as much. Some takeaways, I was able to go to a church service, spending time with his Edgar and his family, and going to Quinceanera. The strong family bond within the Latino community, I just found amazing. He showed me pictures from when he graduated the police academy, and when I graduated, my mom showed up, my dad showed up. That was pretty much it. I think my sister showed up. His entire family basically showed up at his graduation, and they had a video when he went across the stage. You hear people clapping, and then all of a sudden the uproar because they were just so proud of the accomplishment and how hard he had worked. And he had family members come from Texas. The Dominican flew in just for his our graduation from the police academy, that strong sense of family kind of took me back a little bit, made me re-examine myself with my own family. That was a takeaway I definitely had. That same thing got inspired when I saw the quinceanera and how hard the family had to work. I mean, these are blue collar people. These are not people that are doctors and lawyers. They work hard and they save the money. And I can't imagine the cost. It had to be $15,000 at least for that event. So just that strong sense of family, strong hard work ethic. It's amazing to see that work ethic, doing jobs that Americans just look down upon, and proud to do it, honored because they don't have that opportunity in their home countries. It's stuff that we take for granted. At the church service, I really saw how well, first off, the greeting was amazing. The worship was amazing. You could, sometimes you go to churches now and sometimes people look like they're obligated to go. They're not there because they want to be. The churchgoers and the congregation, they were excited to be there, hanging on to every word from the pastor. And you could tell he demanded a lot of respect prior to and after the service. It was just incredible to me. So those are three takeaways I've taken from this project. And with regards to Gracism, I would say I share with you, these individuals from these different groups, they share with each other, they share their experiences with each other, and they're constantly trying to help each other in a way that, try this experience and then we get better. I think Gracism for Gracism, I share with you as one of the mottos that really goes with the Latino group. Also, I stand with you, for the PFLAG group and the group from that is for the LGBTQ plus community. Just trying to educate people and understand that they've done nothing wrong. Standing with them is going to be a great thing. And then I celebrate you. That is something they celebrate each other. They celebrate their accomplishments. And by doing that, it has a ripple effect to people around them. And it truly touched me and inspired me to be a better person and a father. So that's my Immersion project interviews in a nutshell.